Yeah, see you at 6 o'clock. That clock on the wall is about 1 or 2 minutes slow, but I'm gonna go by my telephone. I'd like to call to order the September 3, 2025 regular meeting, of the McKinleyville Community Services District Board of Directors. Joy, would you call roll for us, please?
Director Bender,
Here.
President Beitman,
Here.
Director Mayo,
Here.
Director Orsini,
Present.
and Director Couch will be absent this evening.
Hey, Greg, would you lead us in the pledge? of allegiance?
Honored to thank you.
Ready?
Salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Greg. Okay. Next, we'll call for additions or changes to the agenda. Pat, are there any?
We have no additions or changes to the agenda.
Then I'll call for a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved. Second.
And let's take some roll call. Joey, would you call our roll, please?
Director Bender,
Yes.
President Beitman,
Yes.
Director Mayo,
Yes.
Director Orsini.
Yes.
Next on our agenda is closed session discussion. At any time during the regular session, the board may adjourn to closed session to consider existing or anticipated litigation, liability claims, real property negotiations, license and permit determinations, threats to security, public employee appointments, personnel matters, evaluations and discipline, labor negotiations, or to discuss with legal counsel matters within the attorney-client privilege. Do we have any? We do not have a closed session scheduled, am I correct?
That is correct.
Yes. We move from that to public hearings. Public hearings are items of a quasi judicial or legislative nature. Public comments relevant to those proceedings are invited. And I see we have no public hearing scheduled. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Next item on our agenda is public comment and written communications. Any person may address the board at this time upon any subject not identified on this agenda, but within the jurisdiction of the McKinleyville Community Services District. However, any matter that requires action will be referred to staff for a report of action at a subsequent committee or board meeting. As to matters on the agenda, an opportunity will be given to address the board when the matter is considered. Comments are limited to 3 minutes. Letters should be used for complex issues. And we'll take any public comment at this time on any subject not on the agenda. What do we have online?
Durham.
Jack
Durham.
someone named Tyler.
Okay. Well, we'll welcome them. Any comments? No comments. Okay. With no comment, no public comment, we'll move on to item D on the agenda, which is the consent calendar. Consent calendar items are expected to be routine and non-controversial, to be acted upon by the board of directors at one time without discussion. If any board member, staff member, or interested person requests that an item be removed from the consent calendar, it shall be removed so it may be acted upon separately. Does anyone wish to remove any item from the consent calendar for separate action? We take that as nobody wishes it. So we will move now to approve or to a vote to approve the consent calendar, which contains 1, consider approval of draft minutes of the Board of Directors regular meeting of August 26, 2025. Item 2, consider approval of the draft July 31, 2025 Treasurer's Report. Item 3, compliance with the state double check valve law. Item 4, consider approval of resolution 2025-18, accepting an odor easement for the Meserve subdivision.
I'll move the consent calendar.
Second.
There's no discussion on consent calendar. Joey, would you please call the roll?
Certainly. Director Bender,
Yes.
President Beitman,
Yes.
Director Mayo,
Yes.
Director Orsini.
Aye.
Yeah. That passes. We'll move to the next item on the agenda, which is we move into realm of continued and new business. The first item on our agenda is a matter of a water leak at the airport business park and an appeal of a request for adjustment. And that matter is to be presented. Where am I? Come on. That matter is to be presented by Pat Kasperi, our general manager.
Thank you, President Beitman, and I'm actually going to defer to our board secretary, Joseph Blaine, and let him present this item.
Thank you.
Thank you, President Beitman. So in accordance with the McKinleyville Community Services District rules and regulations, the procedure for appeals is as follows. Regulation 65 appeals. The board may, in specific cases, grant an appeal from any decision made by staff applying the standards incorporated into these rules and regulations whenever it finds A, that special circumstances exist in a particular case, and B, that practical difficulties or unnecessary hardship would result from strict interpretation and enforcement of any standard, and C, that the granting of such an appeal would not tend to defeat the purpose of these rules and regulations. The board may place conditions upon the approval of an appeal. Any individual seeking an appeal shall complete an appeal application on the form provided by the district. A non-refundable fee of $25 shall be paid by the applicant to the district for such application to be considered by the board. The airport business park runs irrigation for their landscaping during the summer months. During the June-July billing period, staff noticed abnormally high water usage and contacted the airport business park's office and learned that a leak had occurred. When staff was asked about a potential water leak adjustment on the high bill, they informed the airport business park that due to the receipt of an adjustment in September 2024, the account would not be eligible for another adjustment until September 2026 per the water leak adjustment policy attachment 1. Evergreen Landscape, who maintains the irrigation for the property, has submitted an appeal for a leak adjustment because of financial hardship, attachment 2. Staff cannot recommend approval of this appeal as it goes against established district policy. Staff recommends the board review the appeal application from Evergreen Landscape on behalf of the airport business park, consider testimony related to the appeal, and uphold the general manager's decision to deny the appeal. The person who submitted the appeal application is Tyler Blevin, and he is present on Zoom with us tonight.
Dennis? Okay.
Clarifying that was there.
Yeah. Okay, at this point, I'll call for, I think the appropriate thing to do is to call for Tyler to speak and inform us as to the concerns and the conditions of his request for our review of the denial of the relief from the bill. So Tyler, are you there and can you speak?
Yes, I am.
Thank you.
So I've taken care of I own Evergreen Landscape. We're a local landscaping business I'm sure most of you are familiar with. And we have taken care of the irrigation and the lawns at the Airport Business Park for 18 years. And I personally oversee the irrigation system myself. And this year I was informed that by Steve Mosier, who is the president of the Airport Business Park Association, that they received an abnormally high water bill, approximately $4,500. and that there was possibly a leak. Due to the nature of how an irrigation system is ran, they have to be ran at night because of wind and people, and also efficiency, with wetting down the grass and not having it dry out immediately and soak in. So, with that being said, it's hard to know when you have a leak. When I was informed that there was a leak, the airport business park approved me to, I replaced 83 sprinkler heads with new higher efficiency less water usage sprinkler heads. I replaced 4 irrigation valve, fixed 6 leaks that were caused by gophers eating through the lines underneath, approximately 2 feet down. The total cost, which is not a full reflection of the cost because I did do a lot of work for free, was $4,698 that we put into the sprinkler system to make it be more fuel fit or more water efficient. We also, thanks to Joey, were able to obtain a flume, which is helps us know that when we do have a water leak, it will let us know when the usage goes up in real time, so that this is not a problem in the future. We put a lot of work into the system to make it more water efficient. And there's several small businesses, all of us that have to pay this bill. And I'm here asking, for any kind of forgiveness you guys can give us or credit on it, mainly because it looks bad on me and it rests on my shoulders a lot. When an irrigation system goes whack and I have no control over it. The only thing I will note is that I do work all over the county, and almost all of the irrigation systems do have smart meters, and I'm usually made aware of these things like way earlier. 3 weeks ago at Applebee's, they had a leak. They called me 1 day later. I shut the system down so they didn't have a huge loss, which is phenomenal. This system in McKinleyville does not have that. Now with the flume, I will be able to monitor that myself, and be able to shut the system down if we do have a leak. So yeah, that's kind of that's my appeal, I guess.
Okay. Yeah.
So, thank you for your
Thank you for your testimony. My question is related to, so there's not a smart meter on the meter that runs that irrigation system?
No.
Okay, that's true. All right, I get it. Yeah, because it wouldn't throw the code until you went and read the meter. I got it. And they've already, so what is it, every 24 months, you can only do ask for a variance every 24 months? And how long ago was the last time they asked for a variance?
September of 2024.
Okay,
So last year,
ouch.
this
So
time.
it's only been a year?
Mhm.
All right, yeah, that's kind of the sticking point for me, is the fact that we've already issued them a variance. So do we have any history on what that variance was the last time?
I believe it was the maximum adjustment of $750.
Okay.
Okay.
That's a question just off of.
Other questions from the members of the board, please?
Well, not just off of Greg. I have my own.
Go ahead,
but,
Dennis.
Do you know what the loss was, not what we allowed at that previous occurrence?
What the size of the leak was for the previous leak?
Are you referring to the amount of the pass-through charge?
No. What I'm asking is, they had a forgiveness or forbearance, whatever, a year, and we get allowed them $750. Do you have information, you may or may not, do you have information on what the total issue was before we allowed them $750 last time?
If you give me like
It's okay if you don't.
30 seconds, I can look it up.
No, it's not difficult. I think. Did another $4,000 late? Or what's it? That's all.
Yeah, don't know. Joey is jumping on to see if you can get on the server and find it, but yeah, I guess.
And Joey's. I'll withdraw that question because it's moot to the, I just was more curiosity than.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you done?
Yeah, I'm done.
Scott?
So, thank you for coming. We appreciate it. And, I am quite familiar with your plight. I have the same issue happen to me quite often at my place. I've got water lines going everywhere, and some of them were put in by my father-in-law 75 years ago, and I find out that they're there. And anyway, but I have been immensely impressed with our staff because they don't just kind of follow this stuff. They contact me instantly when there's problems. And I had problems, and it took me a long time to find them and fix them. I had to pay for all the, so I understand, and it is a hassle. A couple quick things. You may or may not know this. What was the difference in the date differential between when these leaks were occurring and the time when you were notified? Was it quickly? Was it a month? What between?
My understanding was it was about 3 weeks.
Okay, that's pretty significantly when they're leaking hard, I guarantee you. And were you able to isolate the leak? You noted that you did a bunch of fixes and repairs. Were all of those things that you fixed and repaired leaking? Or was it?
Yes, they were causing leak issues. The heads that I replaced were not necessarily causing a leak issue. A few of them were leaking extra water, but we replaced them with more efficient heads so that we're not wasting water, because that system was put in, 30 years ago almost.
Right. Again, I'm very sensitive to your plight. I'm there quite often, knock on wood. I'm not there the next spring, but we'll see. Just something to mention to you, there are some very, very sophisticated, inexpensive systems now that work on your cell phones and stuff. And I imagine with the AI stuff, it's even going to get exponentially better, that lets you know real time. That lets you know real time by the hour if your pressure and flow has changed. Now, that's not something that our district.
He has one of those. He has a flume. He has a flume, so he'll get an email the minute that meets the criteria for a leak.
Yeah, we informed them of the
Okay, so
program we're doing with DWR, and they obtained a device.
well, this is after the fact, not now. Or did they have this while this leak was going on?
No.
They did not have it while
Okay,
the leak was
all right. I
occurring,
didn't know that, and that's
but they have it
fine.
now.
And many ranches, and I'm seeking out one myself to put on my system, because as it ages, that's just the way it happens. All right, those are my questions. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? I have one, Tyler, if you would care to, I'll invite you to expand on one part of your appeal application, which is that the cost of this presents and in the language of the application, an unnecessary hardship, but and in your language, the immense water bill is presents a hardship on a small business. And I don't know whether you would care to elaborate on that for us to understand the nature or the extent of that hardship.
Yeah, so the airport business park is owned, it's owned by a corporation. So there's all the small businesses I'm sure you guys are familiar. You guys have all been up by the business park. You've seen all the small businesses there in the little buildings. They all pay a portion of this water bill. So that's where that comes from, is that, you know, it falls back on the small businesses. I mean, there's some larger businesses that are easier to absorb, you know, larger amounts of money, but this all falls back directly on this, you know, all those businesses up there. They all pay into the association. It's essentially a homeowners association. And so that's what I mean by that, I guess. I did have one more thing that I kind of spaced a little bit that I was on my mind, if I could.
Please go ahead.
Kind of to address what Greg said, Greg Orsini said, which I completely understand that it's only been a year, but I believe that, you know, the $750 allotment, I mean, you're talking about somebody at the airport business park who has a ginormous water bill compared to Scott's house or Greg's house, right? You know, and you're giving the same allotment of to each of them as you are to a place that's using several $1,000s worth of water every year, as somebody who's using maybe $1,000 worth of water a year. So I understand what the law and the way it's written. I guess my objection to it would be, well, it is maybe one of the reasons that we should be forgiven part of it is because of how much water we do use, you know. There's a 2-inch line, it's a 2-inch meter there. And so, I mean, a small leak on a 2-inch meter with 60 PSI, it's a lot of water real fast. So it doesn't take a very big leak to create a giant water bill for us, whereas maybe the homeowners don't have that exact same, you know, scenario.
Go ahead.
Okay, thanks, Tyler. So this kind of brings up something that I meant to ask you in the last time I questioned you, but you brought it up again. So if this variance is not allowed and MCSD wants to collect the full $2,500 or $4,500, I'm sorry, that money wouldn't be coming directly out of your pocket. It would be split up and shared by by all the people that are in the association that contract with you to take care of the landscaping. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
I'd like to take that just one little bit further. What cost or impact does this have upon you is separate from the members of the association? In other words, are you bearing the liability for this?
I myself have put approximately 50 hours between me and another employee of free work, essentially, because the business park was so mad that they were ready to fire my business into figuring out these leaks. That's why I said that when the $4,600 or whatever that they've put into it is not the actual true cost. I've given them a ton of free work to update the sprinkler system because, you know, they were ready to send my business down the road. So there's already that amount, and you know, I'm somewhat trying to save face with them because it's you know, it's a bad situation to be in for me to be in control of that, but I can't be out there at 3 o'clock in the morning looking for leaks, as you guys all probably understand better than I do.
Okay. Any other comments or questions? Tyler, thank you for giving us the explanation. Go ahead, Greg.
So what was the wholesale cost of the water that was used? Is that on the thing and I'm just not seeing it?
Yes, that's in the item under fiscal analysis. The wholesale cost of the water was,
okay, back here.
yeah, $1,544.48.
Okay.
One more time, that 1,000 what?
1544.48.
Okay, thank.
Which is what the district paid to Humboldt Bay Municipal Water District
Right.
for just the water itself.
And that's 78,400 cubic feet.
Yes.
That's a big leak.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's, I asked you this before, but that is a big leak. And you said all those things that you had mentioned earlier you'd fixed. Did you find a predominant issue?
Yes.
And where was that and what did you do?
It was a tree root that had grown down and grown through, broken elbow. And I dug it up. I cut.
What size line was that?
It was 1.25 inches.
Yeah, it's a lot of damn water, man. I hear
Yeah.
you.
And it was where it was like normally you would see like a green spot, but it was
Yeah.
leaking down the back of the hill where
Yeah.
it's just almost impossible to see it. And it's always kind of green under the trees there. So it was just a bad, it was just a bad situation.
I've got nothing but heartfelt sympathy for the situation. I run the rodeo grounds up at the Roping Arena in McKinleyville, and we've got a leak. I cannot find that thing. I go up every night and turn the water off,
Ugh.
or make sure it's off every night. And sometimes when the different riders come in and they know where the on and off valve is, and they'll wash their horse down, but they won't. Anyway, I have to do that constantly. We cannot find that leak, and we're going to fight that for a long time.
Not if you replace all the pipe.
Yeah, and it's, at least at this point in time, it's easier for me to turn it on and off with our budget we've got, which is, anyway, I do have a couple comments for you. And thank you for bringing up again, and we brought it up before, the difference in proportionality of users and what we grant and don't grant. And am going to suggest at our next strategic planning session that we might put that on the agenda to discuss if we want to change that equation a bit. I don't know what's going to happen, but I'll put that on. The district can, and you probably already know this, the district can space out payments for this over how long of a time, Joey?
Typical amortization is 12 months.
Okay, so we can lessen this impact to you all by 1/12 each month. That's an option. And we also have the option, well, several options. We could forgive it. We could say we'll stick with the 750, or we could say, let's charge the wholesale cost, whatever. I don't know what the board's going to decide, but I'm quite sympathetic. On the other hand, I know what the district has to maintain to provide not only you, but me with the opportunity to let our water run out on the ground. Anyway, that's my comments.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Dennis. Any other questions or comments from members of the board? Okay, now I'd like to call, yeah.
President Biteman, one quick question, point of curiosity for Tyler. So how much, if any, did Mr. Mosier have to pay of this bill?
I don't know the exact amount that he pays, but he owns he owns the empty lots there, so he pays part of it. I don't know the exact amount.
Okay. Any other staff questions or comments for Tyler? James?
So before, I'm willing to make a motion, but I'd kind of like to get some actual feedback from you
Well,
guys. So
let's-
any thoughts you have on
Okay,
what
well,
you think
let's
is-
see if there's any comments from the public on this
Okay, sorry, Pat.
or any questions. No, then I'll turn it back to you, Dennis.
No, I just wonder what everybody's thought
Okay.
processes are on the on my perceived options that we have to deal with.
Well, on the options that you've laid out and that we realized in the past for these type of arrangements. I think that Mr. Blevin runs a real clean business. I know that his staff is happy with him. And he's particularly impressing me is that he's taken proactive measures in the form of installing the flume device, which will, signal his cell phone if anything awry happens. And so if I were to make a motion, I'd move that we accept the $1,544.48 that it cost our ratepayers to purchase the water for him.
Are you putting that in the form of a motion?
All right, now we're still in board comment.
Yes, we are. Any more board comments?
One more question for Tyler. So how many people did you say is in that association?
I believe there's about 15. I don't have the exact number in front of me, but counting in my head, it's about 15 businesses.
4,500 divided by 12 is 375, divided by 15 is $25 a month extra that they'd have to pay to retire the $4,500 and.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
It should be noted that the bill has already been paid by
Oh,
the
the
business
bill has
park.
already been paid.
So
Oh, okay, so
amortization would be a
the
difficult
amortization would be-
thing.
no, yeah. Would be-
Okay, well, that's a other portion of a different color, kind of.
Yeah, it is.
Other board questions or comments?
Yeah, I've got quite a few. I think these things are, for me anyway, these things are nuanced is not the right thing. They're feelings, okay? Since the bill's already been paid, if we were to grant the
Variance.
yeah, the amount that it cost us for the water, how long do you reckon that would be credit on their account?
With typical use, that would carry them into likely this time next year.
Wow, so that's I'm amicable to that. I don't know how the rest of the board feels, but I wouldn't oppose that. That may not be the answer we come up with. That's just a thought.
Well, I think that seems fair. We've done this with people in the past and, this is particularly, telling that he's installed the flume device. So something like this will conceivably not happen at the airport business park going forward.
Well, it will happen. It's just that it'll be
It'll
caught
be
quickly and it won't be this.
Well, I
big a
meant to the magnitude that it got.
Yeah.
It won't be 3 weeks.
And I appreciate your sentiment, Director Bender. My major concern is the fact that we're basically setting precedents now that we're willing to come off of the one variance every 24 months thing. So that means that we basically will be opening the floodgates for everybody that wants to come in and get variance after variance for
right,
these.
And
I don't think we've ever relaxed that I can recall, relaxed on the 24-month thing.
I don't think we have either, Greg.
That's a
memory.
good point.
And that's a kind of a conundrum for me, but a reality. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish that we would have discussed this and negotiated it before they retired it, because it would less than double their water bill per customer a month. If it would have been amortized over 24 months.
Yeah. I got a kind of an odd question. Might we need to table this and have a little bit of a discussion with our attorney on the issue that Greg brought up? Are we putting ourselves in some kind of a major faux pas if we do this?
Oh, I don't know that our attorney would have anything to say to that.
Yeah, I
even.
don't think one.
Yeah.
Well, so I guess
I
the
can tell
proper,
you right now that if we do this for one person, we're gonna have to consider doing it for every single person that comes along.
okay. Yeah, okay, and then my next thing, not the attorney, but give it to our general manager who is versed in it, so I think you'd probably say the same thing Greg did, yeah. All right, so that's to the president, that's kind of why some of these things are require more discussion and feeling, you should kind of try to feel things out. It would seem that this would just cut and dry, just boom, boom, boom. I think the thought that Director Bender and I had is the kind of proactive, make your community work kind of thought process. And yet we have to come back to what's the nuts and bolts of legalities.
No, and I appreciate Tyler's efforts, good faith efforts to get the system so that this doesn't reoccur again by updating his equipment and by putting the flume in. But the 600-pound elephant in the room for me is the fact that they accepted a variance
Yeah,
less than 24 months ago.
yeah,
And that's kind of tough for me.
yeah. Well, I think this discussion has changed my position and Tyler, I apologize. I'm probably not going to be able to support this, support for your position.
I'll read the recommendation on which we are to act. Staff recommends that the board review the appeal application from Evergreen Landscape on behalf of the Airport Business Park, consider testimony related to the appeal, and uphold the general manager's decision to deny the appeal. Have we finished our discussion and inquiry into the matter? All right. Then may I have a motion? And Scott, you said that you put it in language that said to overturn the general manager's decision, basically, rather than uphold the general manager's decision.
I didn't make a motion.
No, you didn't. You suggested that if you were to make a motion.
Well, if I were to make a motion, then I would take into heavy consideration what Director Orsini said. I did not think of the chance of setting a precedent that could come back on us and, bite us in the rear going forward. So,
Support the.
so I will support the general manager's decision.
And I'll second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second.
Tyler, thank you very much. And I wish it could have been different for you, brother.
Okay, well, let's
Yeah, me
let's
too.
call
I
them-
feel kind of bad about it, but in the end, we have a responsibility to our ratepayers under the district. And Greg made a compelling argument.
So let's,
Tyler's good.
Tyler?
I understand what you guys are gonna do. I get where you're coming from, but I do agree with that. I'm sorry, I don't know his name, the gentleman with the hat that spoke, that maybe it's something that.
One person in town that don't know who the hell I am. Good, good.
Well, I live in Blue Lake, so.
Ask Adeline Jones, she'll give you the dirt.
Anyway, I agree with very much with the point that he said that maybe this is something that should be discussed on a numbers basis, like, the business park, how much water they use and how much of a variance they get and how much, Scott uses and how much a variance he gets, or how much McDonald's uses and what kind of variance they get, percentage based, I think would be great in the future for some of these businesses, because it can be a strain.
And may I, Director or President?
Yes, sir.
I appreciate that comment on that issue, but for us, it was predominantly that we have policy, and if we change our policy without going through a whole process, that's vetted changing the policy, that when we set up a precedent that we can't defend when somebody else comes in. For me, anyway, that was the issue.
Yeah, I just hope that it helps open the discussion to a policy change, I guess.
Yeah, can I speak?
Of course.
Yeah,
Direct-
yeah, Tyler, that's was my major hangup was going against our policy. I very much appreciate you coming here today and speaking to this issue. And I think that you've done everything necessary to make sure this doesn't happen again. But just if this does happen again, the amortization is a tool that we've used. The general manager has the latitude to be able to amortize quite a bit, and this would have put very little impact on the association if they would have amortized it over 12 months. So anyway, but that being said, yeah, it was tough for me to make this decision, but I have to think about the fact that we would have been basically setting a precedence against the policy that we put in place. And then we would have had no defense against allowing it for other people. So anyway, thank you though very much for coming and speaking to this.
And these are the kind of issues that come up throughout a whole variety of local, state, federal government, is how policies can be reviewed and then need to be changed and may need to be changed.
Yeah.
Okay.
I absolutely would entertain relooking at this. You know, the volume. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'll make a note of that. I'd like to call for a vote on the motion, please.
Do we have a motion yet?
Yes, we do.
And could somebody? Would
Joey, would you read the
support
motion?
The GM's.
It was a motion according to staff recommendation to uphold the general manager's decision to deny
And
the
I
appeal.
second that. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Roll call, please.
Director Binder,
Yes.
President Beitman,
Yes,
Director Mayo,
Yes.
Director Orsini.
Aye.
thank you. And Tyler, once again, I'll speak on behalf of the board. We appreciate you bringing this matter to us for our review and our discussion, and what I hope should be apparent to you is that even though the specifics of tonight's deliberation have been brought to a close, the matter itself has not been closed and will probably be taken up in the appropriate way in the future. I also want to echo what my colleagues have said, is appreciation for your prompt and thorough attention to the matter to ensure that it is unlikely to recur. And thank you for your time and working with us tonight. With that, I want to move on to the next item on our agenda, which is to be presented by Samantha Howard, our finance director, is to consider approval of a draft of MCSD investment policy. And Director Howard, would you
Thank you,
care to make a
President.
presentation?
McKinleyville Community Service District does not currently have a formal investment policy in place. Staff researched and followed local agency investment guidelines provided by the California Debt and Investment Advisory Commission to develop a comprehensive investment policy to ensure the district is in full compliance with California Government Section 53600 to 53686, which governs local agency investments. The draft investment policy attachment 1 has been reviewed and approved by district's legal counsel. The policy has also been reviewed by the Audit and Finance Committee in a meeting held on August 5th, 2025, and was recommended by the committee for board approval. If approved by the board, this policy will be reviewed annually to comply with statutory requirements. If there are no substantive changes, this policy can be renewed and approved annually on the board's consent calendar. Staff recommend that the board review the information provided, discuss, take public comments, and approve the draft MCSD investment policy.
Thank you. I particularly appreciate the detail with which you presented this, including the last pages, in which you presented a summary table to help understand the different investment possibilities and the explanation that you gave us in the glossary to clarify it for us. So, are there questions on this from members of the board?
No questions. I have a comment though.
Comments? Please.
Yeah, as Finance Director Howard stated, that President Beitman and myself, who are on the Audit and Finance Committee, reviewed this with staff on August 5th. And we discussed it at length, and this has the full support of the Finance in Audit Committee's the support. I hope that made sense.
I concur as the other member. Comments, questions from other board members? No? From staff? Anybody want to?
I'll move per staff recommendation to accept the MCSD investment policy.
I'll second that.
Okay, I have not called for comments from the public, but I don't see anybody
Yeah,
who.
pending comments from the public.
All right, so we have a motion and a second. And no further comments. And Joey, would you please call the roll?
Director Bender,
Yes.
President Beitman,
Yes.
Director Mayo,
Yes.
Director Orsini.
Yes.
Okay. With that approved as a draft, I expect that we will see it come back for a second time as a final rather than as a draft,
No, it's just the policy.
just a policy.
So it only has to, it goes from the draft and the policy.
Do we vote on it again?
No.
No.
No, this is it.
It was submitted as a draft. Now that it's approved, it's a policy.
Now it's been approved as policy. Okay. Thank you. I want to clarify that. Next item is item E3, which is to consider approval of updates to district rules and regulations and expenditure control guidelines to conform to California Uniform Public Construction Cost Accounting Act and approval of the first reading of the ordinance. And General Manager Sperry, I think you would present that for us.
Thank you, President Beitman. On September 29th, 2024, Governor Gavin Newsom approved Assembly Bill AB 2192, which amends portions of California's Uniform Public Construction Cost Accounting Act, or the CUPCCA. The amendments effective January 1st, 2025 increased the bidding thresholds in Public Contract Code Section 22032, expand the statutory definition of public projects, and broaden the oversight authority of the California Uniform Construction Cost Accounting Commission. The district board approved becoming a member of the commission in 1991. California law generally requires competitive bidding for the award of contracts for public projects. As an alternative to competitive bidding under Public Contract Code Section 20111, the CUPCCA authorizes different procedures for public projects contract bidding depending on the estimated cost of the project. Beginning in January 1st, 2025, AB 2192 increases the competitive bidding thresholds currently imposed by sections 22032 and 22034 of the Public Contract Code as follows. Public projects of $75,000 or less to be performed by public agency employees will be authorized by force account, negotiated contract, or purchase orders. Public projects of 220,000 or less may be let to contract by informal procedures. And public contracts of more than 220,000 are to be let to contract by formal procedures. The district also adopted Regulation 66 informal bidding procedures, with states in part for informal bidding procedures, public projects as defined in the Uniform Public Construction Cost Accounting Act of $75,000 or less may be let to contract by informal procedures as set forth in section 22032 of the Public Contract Code. Given the passage of AB 2192, it is the intent to update Rule 66.01 via Ordinance 2025-24, which is included in your binders as attachment 1, to change 75,000 to the new CUPCCAA amount of 220,000. Upon review of the expenditure control policy to make similar changes, it became clear that this policy also needed updating in several other areas. A copy of the updated policy is included as attachment 2 with the proposed changes shown in track changes. The most pertinent proposed updates to the expenditure control guidelines are changing the name of the policy from expenditure control guidelines to procurement policy, which is what most other agencies, including granting agencies, typically call it. Per the updated CUPCCAA regulations, projects of 220,000 or more will require a formal bid process. Per the CUPCCA, projects between 75,000 to 220,000 can be performed using an informal bid process. Staff would like to update the procurement policy to require projects from 20,000 to 75,000 to require a purchase order. Currently, the district's expenditure control policy says anything over 1,000 requires a purchase order. Staff would like to update the procurement policy to require projects less than 20,000 to require a voucher only. Currently, that's at $100. Staff would like to update the procurement policy to require board approval for unbudgeted purchases in excess of $75,000. Currently, that number is $15,000. Staff would like to update the procurement policy to require the general manager approval for purchases from 20,000 to 75,000. Currently, that's 1,000 to 15,000. Staff would like to update the procurement policy to require department heads to approve purchases of $100 or but less than 20,000. Currently, those numbers are 100 and 1,000. Staff would like to update the procurement policy to give the operations director voucher approval ability as well. Currently, only the GM, finance director, and HR director have that approval ability. There are other changes shown on the procurement policy as well that are intended to reflect how the account and finance department actually functions. Regulation 67 of the district's rules and regulations outlines the selection of professional consultants as written. Rules 67.02 and 67.03 require a formal request for proposal process for all professional service contracts in excess of 15,000. Staff would like to increase this to 75,000. Rules 67.02 and 67.03 also require the board to review all RFPs prior to them being circulated. This is not the current practice. The costs for major projects are approved by the board during the budget process. RFPs for these projects are developed by staff and then circulated per public contract code. The proposals are then reviewed and ranked by a review committee that consists of district staff and possibly board members or other personnel that can provide valuable insight on the selection. A contract scope and fee is then negotiated with the selected firm and brought to the board for approval. Staff would like to update this section of the rule and regulations to reflect that process. So this was also taken to the August 5th Audit and Finance Committee, and that committee recommended approval. So staff recommend that the board listen to the presentation, review the information provided, discuss, take public comment. I'm not going to make it. And approve the first reading of ordinance 2025-04 by title only, revising regulations 66 and 67 of the district's rules and regulations and expenditure control guidelines.
All right. Step one, listen to the presentation. I'm missing one member of the board. Wait for him to return.
I don't have to read that all over when Dennis comes back, do I?
No.
Confirming that was the presentation. Okay.
Would you care to repeat that entire thing? I never.
Dennis is coming back, isn't he?
I assume so. He left his glasses here in his phone.
I was gonna text him, but wouldn't do any good as.
Oh, sitting right there.
Is there food over there? They could have been sneaking out from the truck.
I think I hear noises of confusion.
There he comes. Welcome back.
Waiting on me?
Kind of.
Yep, board meeting's over.
Um, to summarize, Pat, if you could summarize this in one sentence, what are we doing? What are we doing here?
So we are conforming to the new procurement rules established by the state on January 1st. And we're updating some of our other numbers too that haven't been updated in years to fall more in line with current contract amounts, et cetera.
Okay. How long has it been since this has been updated?
A lot of that stuff has been around since before I was a general manager.
It was back into the dark ages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've been filling out POs for for anything over $100 since I was working in the trenches.
Yeah, and it should be noted that basically every purchase gets at least 3 signatures on it before a check gets cut. Typically, your finance director reviews it, a department head will review it, submit it for payment, so have their signature on it. Then it goes to your finance director who reviews it and approves it. Then it goes to your human resource director who reviews it, approves it, and then I review and approve it before a check gets signed, issued.
Whoever's doing accounts payable.
Yeah,
reviews it.
which is typically Leslie, Samantha, and I.
Any other comments or questions? I had just one more, but other members of the board. So, and my question is pretty, it betrays my ignorance, which I don't mind. To what extent do we make use of force account on contracted work?
It's pretty rare. It's very rare, actually. We're considering it right now for one thing, but it's not a normal procedure.
Okay.
Usually we have plenty of time to go out for bid and get formal bids on things, and so we don't have to do force account. Force account is when you're like trying to get something done quickly and you just want them to start working on it and bill us for how much it costs.
I would say about the only time anything like that happens is like if we need to have tree work done or something like that. I would say James would probably be the one who'd have the most experience with What would you say? I'm trying to think back to when we've ever done that. It's probably mainly. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's mostly-
Mostly emergency work, yeah, okay. Any other comments or questions?
Just one.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, we, again, just like I said with the last item, we reviewed this at the August 5th, Audit and Finance Committee meeting. And myself and President Beitman both approved this to come back in recommendation for the board's approval. We didn't make Pat read this whole thing though during that, so.
Yeah. Questions or comments from members of the staff?
Public comment or?
Well, sir, do we have any comments from public on this change?
I'll move per staff recommendation.
Do we
I'll
have a
second.
Second, okay. Joey, would you call the roll, please?
Director Bender,
Yes.
President Beitman,
Yes.
Director Mayo,
Yes.
Director Orsini.
Yes, and this will be back,
This is the first reading. It'll come back to us again.
yeah, second reading will be next month. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Next item is E4, annual review and discussion of the 2024, 2020 to 2029 strategic plan. And that's presented by,
Can we move this to the end of the agenda, please?
we can do that
I'm just joking.
until after everybody else goes home. Is that the idea? Is this a friend of yours?
I don't think so, not anymore.
Not anymore. That's
Clearly, I have been.
was, okay. Leslie, would you please present this for us?
I'd be happy to. The McKinleyville Community Services District's 2024 through 2029 strategic plan was adopted on December 6, 2023. The strategic plan is reviewed by staff and the board annually to ensure the plan reflects the continued progress that MCSD makes with projects, finances, and improvement programs. The plan is foundational to the district's long-term financial health and stability. Annual reviews and updates ensure the district follows through on set goals and stays grounded in the current and midterm needs of the community we serve. The strategic plan will continue to be presented to the board annually for review. Quick note, I noted the attachment 1 is not the red line version, but I'm about to tell you what all the edits were. Trying to do the track changes messed up all the formatting and I was spending too much time. So here we go. The changes in the update include in Goal 1, Action 1, Community Forest Management Planning. With the necessary committees and subcommittees now in place and meeting monthly, forest management planning work is currently underway, and it is anticipated that the draft forest management plan will be brought to the board for approval prior to the end of 2025. Goal 1, Action 3, update the Parks and Rec Master Plan. The Parks and Recreation Master Plan update is almost complete. It is anticipated that it will come to the board for review and adoption in November 2025. Goal 2, Actions 1 and 5 are complete. An updated salary schedule was approved and made effective as of July 1st, 2025. An annual employee satisfaction survey process was implemented in January of 2025 and will be conducted annually going forward. Goal 2, Actions 2 through 4 are in progress and ongoing. Recruitment and outreach has been streamlined. Staff is currently developing a catalog of professional development opportunities and resources for employees. Approximately 90% of the workforce regularly participates and provides feedback on employee wellness activities and programs. Goal 3, Action 1, update the succession plan. Staff updated the district succession plan in the first half of 2025. Goal 3, Actions 2 through 3. Cross-training and staff training program development are underway, with staff dedicating intentional time to cross-training and coaching and mentoring existing staff who have shown interest and initiative and being groomed for taking critical positions within the district. Goal 4, the strategic project matrix. The district has updated the project matrix to reflect progress and changes to project timelines that have been required. The red line version of this matrix can be reviewed in attachment 2. So we encourage the board to review the material and bring any revisions, suggestions, or comments to the meeting for discussion. Board is invited to ask for clarification on revisions. At this point, we recommend that you review the material, discuss, and take public comment.
Okay. So our next step is for the board to ask questions and make comments on the proposed plan review revisions and redlining as you presented it to us. It looks to me like this is following the process as we expected it to be followed, and I'm pleased with that. And I'll invite comments from other members of the board.
Can I go?
Go for it.
Thank you. Yeah, this is great. Thank you very much, staff. I know that you guys have a lot of stuff on your plates to do, and I very much appreciate you bringing this back to us so we can kind of get a feeling about how we're moving forward. We spent a bit of time on doing this. You guys spent even more time on doing this. A lot of thought went into it, so I think it's good for the board to understand where we're at in the process of this next during this planning period. As I said, thank you very much for all the work that went into this, and it's very helpful.
Other comments? Dennis?
No.
No. Scott? No.
I just think it's great seeing all the things that are being crossed off as we go forward. Progress.
No, okay. I'll echo Director Rossini's comment that at times it seems like strategic planning is superfluous, that somehow or other strategic planning may be taking place of actually doing things. And we spend all of our, one person that recalls, and we spend all of our time in planning and none of our time in actually accomplishing anything. And with that jaundiced view, I'm pleased with what your discussion says about the purpose of the plan is to set the direction and it gives us the opportunity to see where we are and see what progress that we're making. And I'm pleased that you've taken the time to sit down and go through this and do the detailed work that you've done, because I know it is not a quick thing to do, and it takes quite a bit of thought. So I just want to say thank you for that. This does not call for action, and I think what it does call for is a statement of appreciation for the work that you put into it. And the only question I have is, where are we now in terms of timing for the next go through of the planning process itself?
I think, well, so it's for the strategic plan as it is, but the current goals are, it's for through 2029. I would recommend beginning the strategic plan update, which would be different than a revision where you set new goals. I would start that process in maybe mid to late 2027.
Okay.
No?
Also, another thing too, if I might, is that we might consider doing a three-year horizon. I know that would put more work on staff. But it might give us it seems to me that 5 years, some of these things can get pretty stale. If, you know, after they might not be as important in 5 years as they would be in a 3-year horizon, but it's just something that we could think about. I don't want to, I know the amount of work it takes, so I know that you guys would probably like to see them like 10-year strategic planning horizon that way. But but it could be with the way things are changing now, at the speed that they're changing, that 5 years might be a little bit longer for us to continue to be nimble. But we do have the ability to be able to bring this back when we have these conversations annually and request that maybe something else be looked at and put in the plan also. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because my concern is that with the AI stuff coming on, you know, I don't know if where staff's at in the process of getting us up to speed related to our use of AI and things like that. But that's one thing that kind of comes to mind right now. And our next board item, the cybersecurity thing too, that there might be a lot of work in there it might fit well into our strategic plan.
Yeah, Director Frisbee is beginning to plan. You have decided as a board, you want to do an annual strategic or retreat or what, and Director Frisbee has started figuring out what topics to discuss. You guys brought up another topic tonight that will likely be discussed, but that also could be something that could be added to that retreat of, hey, when do we want to do the next strategic plan update? And how frequently do we want to do it? And other issues that are facing the district. And I would encourage you, if you have a random thought of, boy, I'd really like to talk to the rest of the board about this, to go ahead and email me and I can pass it on to Leslie and we can talk about it.
Okay. That's an open invitation.
That is an open invitation.
Super. Any other comments? No. Greg, Dennis, any other comments?
Thank you.
Other than to say thank you. Appreciate it. All right. Once again, thank you, and we hear more in the future, obviously. Item E5 is next. Consider appointment of board directors to cybersecurity governance ad hoc committee. Joey, you're to present that to us.
Thank you, President Beitman. As the board is aware, the district has received $250,000 of funding through the state and local cybersecurity grant program through the California Office of Emergency Services to bring the district into alignment with the National Institute of Standards and Technology, NIST Cybersecurity Framework 2.0. One of the objectives of the grant is to develop and establish appropriate governance structures, including developing, implementing, or revising cybersecurity plans to improve capabilities to respond to cybersecurity incidents and ensure continuity of operations. As shown on page 2 of attachment 1, one of the avenues by which the district's managed IT provider, Infinite Consulting Services, and staff intend to meet this goal is through the establishment of a cybersecurity governance ad hoc committee, which will hold quarterly meetings to review strategies for enhancing cybersecurity. Staff has identified employees who will sit on the committee, but also wants board involvement in the development of the district's cybersecurity governance. Staff recommendation, which differs slightly from what's in front of you in the staff report, recommends that the board review the information provided, discuss, take public comment, then the board establish the cybersecurity governance ad hoc committee, and the board president appoint 2 directors to the cybersecurity governance ad hoc committee.
Okay. Thank you, John. that gives us 2 points of action. The first point is to establish the committee. That staff recommends that we, consistent with the state and local cybersecurity grant program, that we establish a committee. And I'd like to ask if there's any discussion on that issue, on the establishment of a committee.
Yeah, I've got a question.
Yes,
Or I've
please.
got I've got a question on it. So now the establishment of the committee, is there anywhere in code that that's a requirement to establish the ad hoc committee, or is that just a recommendation?
It's a recommendation. We discussed this, and it's an interesting type of committee because there was going to be staff. It was going to be a staff committee anyway, but for the board purposes to cover our bases, we
Okay,
felt that it would be prudent to establish it as an ad hoc.
right. So, but nowhere in code or to satisfy a grant funding, are we required to have the committee? Correct?
We're required to have the committee, but we're not required to have it as a board ad hoc.
As an
committee.
ad hoc committee, okay. All right. Thank you. That's what I was trying to get clear.
Other questions or comments? Dennis? Scott? Any comments or questions from staff regarding this? No? From members of the public, do we have any? Okay,
I'll make a motion to establish a cybersecurity governance ad hoc committee for McKinleyville Community Services District, and that there be the staff members as laid out in the attachment item E5, attachment 1,
Mhm.
and that there be 2 board members assigned by the assigned by the board president on that committee.
Friendly question. I'll second it, but I have a friendly question. Is that right? Could we also at this motion add the 2 people that we want to be on the committee, or should we do that?
That's
as
just,
a second?
first, let's form the committee and
Okay,
then
I
we'll make the
apologize.
appointment.
I'll second the motion.
It's the board president's.
Point of order.
Oh, okay.
The point of order being that the establishment of an ad hoc committee is up to him. It's not even voted on according to Roberts.
You're right.
Oh,
It's
okay.
at the
But we-
president's pleasure.
Yeah, but we can make suggestions.
Yeah, but we don't need a formal motion and a
Gotcha.
vote
Okay.
and all that.
Okay,
Okay, then I'll withdraw my motion.
Well, no, don't we have to have a motion to set up the committee?
No, that's the president's choice,
I think you're
Alright.
right, but I will clarification.
according to Roberts.
I don't know about Roberts. I care about our policies.
okay.
Is that okay? Okay, thank you. I get you.
Whatever action it takes. Whether it's
Cool.
by declaration, I'll hereby establish the existence of the committee. And I have 2 candidates in mind. And I said I would see if I can make eye contact. If I can, they're going to, I will accept that as an asset. Number 1 was Greg, would you be willing to serve on this committee?
Yes, as I stated when we talked about this at an earlier board meeting, I'd be more than happy to sit on this ad hoc committee.
And Scott, you're the second one I'm looking at. Would you be?
Yeah, yes, I would.
Okay, so there, thank you very much, and Joey will make the appointment official then, and the existing of the committee, and the committee is structured as ad hoc, which means it has a limited life, and it's perhaps anticipated that it could in the future become a regular committee, but at least for now, it's a time limited activity. So you have not at this point committed the rest of your life to serve on this committee, just basically for the next year as we do this.
Nor do we have the issues with the Brown Act with this committee.
No,
Oh,
not with 2 members of the board. Okay.
It's an ad hoc, so there's.
It's an ad hoc, that's right, it don't have to be, doesn't have to be board policy. All right. Thank you very much, especially to both of you for your willingness to work with staff to,
I was gonna be mad if you didn't pick me.
Well,
I was doing work from the left, but Dennis kept looking over the other way.
No, you don't want me on that.
Yeah, that's because when you said step forward, Dennis backed up.
Yeah. All right, item E6 is consider providing public comments on the Roshan Ranch Timber Harvest Plan. And Pat, would you please present that for us?
Thank you, President Beitman. As the board is aware, Paul Chamberlain is the new owner of the former Green Diamond parcel at the east end of First Road. As part of the property transfer of the community forest to MCSD from Green Diamond granted the district a right-of-way across this parcel for public access to the community forest. Mr. Chamberlain has filed a THP, a timber harvest plan with CAL FIRE. See attachment 1 for the notice of intent letter. The THP was returned with comments from CAL FIRE. See attachment 2. And there is currently no active THP on file with CAL FIRE for this project. Based on staff's discussion with CAL FIRE staff, comments can still be submitted on the THP using the THP number, and the comments will follow the THP in the event an amended THP is submitted on this project. As mentioned, MCSD has a public access easement across the Chamberlain parcel. The grant deed for this easement is included as attachment 4, and the alignment of the easement in the existing trail is shown on the figure included as attachment 3. The description of the easement is contained in paragraph 1D of the use of the easement is contained in paragraph 4 of attachment 4. Special attention is drawn to paragraph 4F, which does allow the grantor to suspend access over the easement, but also requires the grantor to restore the use of the easement using reasonable diligence and urgency. I'll skip over the italics. And as detailed above, the property owner has the right to temporarily suspend access over the easement for safety reasons. The biggest issue identified with the latest version of the THP with regards to the easement are that 1, the easement is not identified in the THP at all. And 2, the potential impacts to the public's use of the easement, impacts to the easement itself, nor mitigation measures to limit these potential impacts are not addressed at all. At the August 5th, 2025 Forest Management Plan Subcommittee meeting and at the August 19th, 2025 McKinleyville Community Forest Committee meeting, the subcommittee and the full committee recommended that THP comment language be developed and presented to the MCSD board for review and possible forwarding on to CAL FIRE. Possible comment language that was developed by staff includes the final bullet item. The McKinleyville Community Service District has a granted public access easement across the subject parcel, see attached grant deed. THP number 1-25-00092-HUM does not identify the existing easement, nor address potential impacts to the public's use of this easement by the proposed THP activities, nor does it address how these potential impacts could be mitigated. These oversights should be addressed in all the appropriate sections of any revised THP. So with that, staff recommends the board review the information provided, discuss, take public comment, and recommend that district staff provide initial comments to CAL FIRE on the proposed Roshan Ranch Timber Harvest Plan, and authorizes the staff to also submit any additional subsequent comments if time is of the essence.
Any comments or questions from members of the board?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Gary.
Just a quick background. So anyway, as was stated in the staff presentation or discussion, we did discuss this during the McKinleyville Community Services District Community Forest Committee meeting, and I think it was unanimous that that we direct staff to come back and bring something back to us, this board, to make the comments about the concerns that staff had related to the things that were missing out of the timber harvest plan. So what you're seeing now is it has the full support of the community forest committee.
Scott? Dennis? Staff, any comments or questions? No? Kirsten? Nothing? Okay. Anybody from the public? All right. May I have a motion to approve the,
Yeah, I'll move to direct staff to move forward with making the comments as they see fit, to address the timber harvest plan.
Second,
Mentioned here in the staff note.
second?
yes.
I'll call the question. Joy?
Director Bender,
Yes.
President Beitman,
Yes.
Director Mayo,
Yes.
Director Orsini.
Yes.
Let's move to item E7, formation of McKinleyville Community Forest Fund. Let's try that again. Formation of McKinleyville Community Forest Fund fundraising plan. And this is to be presented by Kirsten Mesmer.
Thank you. At the May 7th, 2025 McKinleyville Community Services District Board meeting, the board unanimously approved establishing a McKinleyville Community Forest Fund, or the MCF Fund, at Humboldt Area Foundation, or HAF. The MCF Fund offers a secure, tax-deductible avenue for individuals, organizations, and businesses to contribute toward the stewardship and development of the McKinleyville Community Forest. Donations will help support trail construction, habitat restoration, forest management, community outreach, and other related projects. The fund was launched with a $10,000 donation from Rick Littlefield and Eureka Natural Foods, demonstrating strong community support for the forest. In addition, Rick Littlefield and Eureka Natural Foods have expressed interest in matching up to a $25,000 total, meaning that if the community contributes up to $25,000, they will match that dollar for dollar. This matching opportunity doubles the impact of community contributions and creates a clear, time-sensitive fundraising goal. With the fund now established, the MCF committee approved a comprehensive fundraising plan, attachment 3, at their August 19th meeting. As part of this process, board members are also asked to review the possible donor list as attachment 2 and identify specific potential donors they are willing to reach out to and or provide additional potential donors to the list. Please provide those recommendations or comments to Jess Elm or to myself. Consider outreach strategies and promotional opportunities to encourage giving. At the August 19th MCF committee meeting, the committee was also asked to identify, if possible, one committee member to serve as a fundraising lead, to take the lead on coordinating and advancing ongoing fundraising efforts outlined in the fundraising plan, which is attachment 3. The committee has not yet identified someone for this role. The attached draft donation letter, which is attachment 1, can be customized for different audiences and used as a starting point for outreach. Board members' existing community connections will be instrumental in building strong relationships and encouraging contributions. So with that, staff recommends that the board review and discuss the material provided and take public comment. Further, staff recommends the board members review the possible donor list and identify specific individuals, companies, and organizations they're willing to contact regarding contributions to the McKinleyville Community Forest Fund.
Thank you, Kirsten. Board comments.
Yeah, I've got some.
Go ahead, Gary.
Thank you. Yeah, as we discussed during the Community Forest Committee meeting, is I think that the person that we pick for this has to have some very unique characteristics, and I think that as a board, we have some ideas about who might be good. So I'd encourage us as board members to think about who in the community would be somebody that could spearhead this effort. And kind of what I had thought would be somebody who's got a lot of connections in the community, somebody who's very self-motivated. He knows how to leverage sort of those relationships. So kind of keep your minds open to somebody. There's somebody in this community that would be a great fit for this. And I think that, yeah, we just need to kind of, figure out who that is and then get that person in touch with staff or get staff in touch with them, however that works. But anyway, that was my thought.
Do you have a suggestion on who within the committee or the staff or whatever would be the point person to be,
For me,
go ahead, Dennis.
for me, President, it's a little premature right at this point in time. There's probably a handful of people that I am thinking positively about. I would like to discuss it with them before I would present their names. Because there's just a lot involved in that.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
That's, to whom should that, when the name becomes apparent, to whom should that name be presented? Is that to the chair of the Community Forest Committee, to
I don't know what our protocol
our
is.
general manager?
What do you think?
Yeah, I guess I would say if you have contacts with somebody, I would, like Director Mayo said, I would approach them first. But if they express interest and want to talk to somebody about it further, then Kirsten or I would be appropriate to have them talk to.
Okay.
And maybe think outside the box just a touch on this, because there's people that we know who are pretty willing to be kind of out there on a regular basis, but there are people with immense abilities who don't want to have this light shined on them, but that can go do this groundwork that's probably more important than anything to do this. So that's my reasoning for wanting to discuss it with them.
Yeah, the person that we get is gonna have a lot of established relationships in the community. They're already gonna have a network in place. This is something that hopefully my vision of this in the perfect world is that this person that already exists in our community doesn't have to start from scratch to be able to do this.
And yeah, I want to emphasize too, they don't have to do it all themselves either. They, the Forest Management Plan and Finance Subcommittee absolutely was formed also to help with this sort of thing.
And we already have a couple pretty significant supporters that have stepped up already that will be right there for assistance and aid. And yeah.
Well, so far, all I'm seeing is people with their hands out. Only one person is putting money in.
Well, that's the one person I'm thinking of. Helpful.
Scott, any thoughts, comments, additions to that?
Well,
All right.
I guess, let me just throw this out as a question, because we can't all, like, what do you think? So we can't do that. If we were to, as we think of the potentials in our discussions, get that info to you, Pat, could you disseminate that and get feedback to the rest of the board? How would
Absolutely.
that, what's the proper?
Yeah, absolutely. Right. You don't want to be bugging the same person over and over by, 5 different people either. So yes, that, I think would be appropriate if you talk to somebody and they express interest, or even if they don't express interest, let us know and we can get that information out. So
Okay.
don't keep getting badgered.
Okay. Any other staff, anybody further input on this?
My only thing would be if you have it, when you have a chance to review the attachment two, and if there is any businesses on that list that you are comfortable and would like to put your name next to in terms of reaching out for a donation, that would be awesome. And in that case, you can email me that, hey, I want to take this business and that business, and I'm going to submit a donation letter to them.
And likewise, if there's anybody that didn't make it on the list, then you think that they'd be good.
Yes.
I get in touch with Kirsten or with Jess.
Either, I mean, you can submit the letter to them and then just let me know that, hey,
Okay.
I also reached out to this business that wasn't on the list.
Okay,
Or individuals as well. We intentionally didn't try to include individuals on this list as it's a public document, you know. So if there are individuals that you know that may want to just personally give a donation, that would be amazing as well. And feel free to reach out and just give us a heads up, and we won't add individuals to the list just for.
Anything else? Thank you for the effort to put forward to put this together, and we hope it moves forward quickly. Thank you. And especially, thanks to
If he would do it,
yeah.
man.
Rick Littlefield for stepping forward to start it. So,
We've got to use.
okay, let's move on to the next item, which is item E8. It's an action item that calls for a roll call vote, and it's to consider attendance at the Association of California Water Agencies, Aqua, 2025 Fall Conference and Expo in San Diego on December 2 through 4, 2025. And Joey, would you present that for us, please?
Thank you, President Bateman. The Aqua Conference and Expo, held in spring and fall, is a gathering of water industry professionals to learn, connect, and shape the future of water. As the water industry evolves, the Aqua Conference and Expo will help attendees stay ahead of the changing landscape and provide the opportunity to join experts as they share their insights on trending water issues. Registration includes up to 3 days of conference sessions, committee meetings, networking opportunities, meals, speaker handouts, and resources, plus on-demand access for full conference registrants. This year's Aqua 2025 Fall Conference and Expo will be held in San Diego, California from December 2nd through 4th. Regular registration and cancellation deadline is November 17th, 2025. Staff recommends that the board review the information provided for the Aqua 2025 Fall Conference and Expo being held in San Diego, California, December 2nd through 4th, and consider approval for interested board members to attend.
Okay. Any comments from members of the board with regard to attendance?
I'm kind of contractually obligated to go, although I want to go anyway.
Yeah, I also plan on attending.
And I'm still in a position that I'm not comfortable making commitments of this sort. Who knows?
So do I make a motion?
I'd like to have a motion, please.
So I move to accept the agenda item.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Joey, would you call the roll, please?
Director Bender,
Yes.
President Bateman,
Yes.
Director Mayo,
Yes.
Director Orsini.
Yes.
Thank you. Now move to item 9. Which is information item. From Samantha Howard, a finance director. A finance report.
Are we gonna do
Yeah,
are we gonna
we're-
go?
Gotta mess up.
Committee reports before we get to that, right? Why is this showing up as item 9? Never mind.
Got a 2-minute report.
I'm being coached by one of our staff to get to the end of this. Okay. We'll move to active committee reports, Parks and Recreation Committee first. I did not attend the meeting. Did you attend it, Scott?
I did. I attended. I have nothing to add to Director Messemer's report.
McKinleyville Area Fund,
We did not meet.
that was you again, Jerome. Next is Redwood Region Economic Development Commission. I'm the alternate on that, and I attended their meeting. And the typical format is that the board meeting is a time for presentations. So Will Franklin, Director, North Coast Small Business Development Center, presented the idea of a competition among small business, and I don't have the number here, as my memory is a $200,000 fund to give out as prizes for the best competitor. The thing that I think that is most of most interest or concern to this board is a discussion of REDEC's joint powers agreement and bylaws. They're in the process of working on that to revise it. The joint powers agreement defines the roles and relationships of the various member communities, which the board is made up of the member communities, and the degree to which those communities are jointly and severally liable for the actions of REDEC. It's an area that I've been watching fairly carefully to make sure that nothing comes through their board that would somehow or other obligate MCSD on some action that they're taking. Other comment in here was that the mayor, when it came time to make a presentation, the mayor of Rio Dell asked that we give support to Assembly Bill 262. AB 262 is to establish an agency within California to basically take to fill the gap left in small communities for disaster support, disaster recovery, not covered by FEMA. And she's asking for people to support that. There's a bunch of other stuff, but those are the things that were of most interest at REDEC. Next report, the McKinleyville Senior Center. Scott.
Well, we really don't have anything new to report. We're just doing what we normally do. We did have a few of our hostesses fell ill over this last month, but the other hostesses immediately stepped up and stepped in to cover their shifts, without anything going wrong at all. So our group is very, very self-supporting in there in terms of stepping in when people get sick. And we just, business as usual. That's all I got.
Okay. Audit and Finance Committee. Greg, would you? I think it's all pretty much.
Yeah,
all
I
in
think
front of us.
I think we covered everything that we discussed during that meeting. We approved the expenditure control policy and also started on the modification of the rules and regulations related to we passed the investment control policy and started on our way for the expenditure control policy. It's in the rules and regs. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Scott McMack, or is it Greg? Which one of
Okay.
these?
Scott.
Okay. I was down in Monterey at the California Special Districts Association conference, and I did not attend. I was planning to attend, but we received email that a very large consequential portion of the meeting was being postponed due to legal review. So I figured that my time would be best spent networking down there.
Good. Thank you.
So one other addition to that, so we did discuss the joint board meeting between MCSD and MCMAC. MCMAC agreed to hold it on October 22nd, as this board was hoping to. MCMAC also wants to focus on the disaster recovery and response and getting agencies here to hold a panel. So that is what we are going to focus on, the topic on, and Joey and I were just talking about that today, and who to invite and how to set it up, and we'll be working on that and reaching out to you, President Beitman, as well as the president of the MCMAC, Mary, and
Larry Burke.
we'll go through that and get people set up to show up. So,
And that's with the hope that that item actually gets solidified before then, huh?
I'm sure it will. We've talked to the sheriff already. He's more than willing to come talk to Cal. Yes, they're more than willing to come talk to Cliff Vandercott for CERT, that he's more than willing to come. So I'm sure it'll get set up.
Plus we'll have Scotty here too.
Yep.
And that's gonna be at 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
It's on my calendar.
Me too.
Okay.
Thank you.
Chemical Community Forest Committee. I did not attend it. Did you? Greg?
I did. And what date was that? 17th? 19th.
Yeah. I was here for 7.
So
I wasn't.
so we approved an MOU for Wright Tree Service to be able to or we discussed we had discussed the MOU here. We and approved the MOU for Wright Tree Service to do training in the community forest along Murray Road, and that was discussed during the community forest meeting. We talked about I think that's about, we had review of both of the subcommittee meetings. And I believe that was about all. Was there anything else that we talked about? Oh, also the thing that was on the agenda tonight about the fundraising,
Yes.
the
So
fundraising plan.
one thing that I learned when I took on this role from Joey is that previously you guys were receiving the unapproved park meeting minutes, and then and he recommended not bringing those. So what is attached to my report, which we will get to, is the approved minutes. So they're a month behind. So if you're reviewing notes from my report, the minutes are a month behind, but if within my report, I summarize quickly what we did. So it was public comments for Roshan Ranch, the formation of the fundraising committee, and then also discussed a possible separate MOU with MBTTA, which got kicked down the road. So those were.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks.
I must have obliterated all those brain cells in the last 2 weeks.
Humboldt Bay Municipal Water District. Dennis?
I can't hear you.
Humboldt Bay Municipal Water District. Looking at you, it says Couch and Mayo.
He couldn't meet either.
Couldn't meet. Okay, enough on that one. Next one is, on this is legislative and regulatory reports. That's the next item on our agenda. And this is the point we look to see whether,
We're talking about this item right here.
Yeah, I can't do it.
I have things for legislative and regulatory reports. So probably one of the most critical, and you all may have seen the email from CSDA, is CSDA secured crucial and kind of big amendments to SB 707, which is the biggest Brown Act update since 1953 when it was first established. So that's, I'm losing my train of thought. Forgive me.
Big deal.
Yeah, it's a very big deal. It was enough to make CSDA move from opposed unless amended to a neutral position. The biggest thing they secured is a lot of consideration for special districts when it comes to what they were going to require of quote eligible legislative bodies and requirements for agenda translation, so on and so forth. There was a lot of gray area for special districts in there, and especially for two-way teleconferencing was going to require a lot of small special districts that don't necessarily have the capabilities like we do for holding two-way teleconferencing Zoom meetings to be able to meet those requirements. So CSDA secured amendments to make it only for very large special districts. So instead of thousands of special districts having to abide by that, it's now down to about 3 dozen, which is massive. So kudos to our advocates at CSDA for doing that. And that will be coming down the pipe. We are fortunately will benefit from some things in SB 707 and not be hindered by some of the larger portions that are kind of daunting. So that's good.
Can I throw something in?
Yes,
there,
sir.
Joey? Yeah, that was on my list too. A couple things that to add to that, SB 2449, the good parts of it were incorporated in, and AB 259, the good parts of that were incorporated in.
Yes.
So the neutral position is actually a lot stronger than a neutral, and we really appreciate that. So.
Yeah. So SB 707 made it off suspense file, which means it's actually going to state legislature to be considered and voted on. Then from there, go to the governor's desk. Another item that made it off of suspense is SB 827, which will be an upcoming training requirement for elected officials and executive staff to have to do kind of like ethics training. We'll have to do 2 hours of financial training. So CSDA has already committed to providing that for their members. So that'll be coming down the pipe when it does.
It'd probably be a requirement. It's gonna be a legislative requirement.
Yeah.
Plus, it'll probably be part for us to get our certificate of excellence too.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, okay, that was a great article. After I read it this morning, I took it upon myself to send it the Micmac president, Mary Burke, as they are an eligible subsidiary body. So they're all aware.
That's all from me. Thank you.
Did you have more stuff?
Yeah,
Legislative?
I got quite a bit when we get to.
all right, let's go.
I'll try to
Yeah, let's get out of here.
make it quick as I can. There's quite a little bit. On the September 8th, SB 72 is going to be discussed at the Cactus Garden in Sacramento, and it's about the long-term supply testing for sewer and water. And I'm going to make a quick buzz down there on my own to be there to give some comments on it. And I'm also going to spend time with my grandkids, so this is a personal trip as well. So, tomorrow, I'm going to be most of the day on a Zoom meeting at Aqua with the Secretary of Agriculture on it doesn't seem related, but our fire forestry issues are tied in with the ag bill and stuff. So we're going to be discussing that. Assemblyman Rogers is having September 27th event at the Aqua at the Aquatic Center in Eureka, and I'll go. And if anybody would like to go, I'm going to buy tickets, and that's my treat. So if you want to go, just let me know and I'll get the tickets. And then I'm spacing it out. Director Bender, can you help me on our Region 1 event that we're going to in just a little?
Okay, the Region 1 event, we will be going down next Friday.
Yeah.
At early dark 30
Yeah.
and getting back late. We're making it a day trip. It starts at 8 a.m. and ends probably around 4.
Yeah. So we'll just
Down
make
there,
a
we're gonna go
turnaround.
down to Windsor and we're going to tour their wastewater
Right.
treatment facility.
And,
And it has a proper name, but I forgot what it
Yeah,
was.
thank you. And then McGuire's Chili deal is a little bit farther off, October 12th down in Windsor. We will be going to that, and there's many reasons that might have to do with a little special election. For
50.
for advocacy, again, with our senator and potentially new congressman. So anyway, and then I'll try to be that. AB 1146, it prohibits false pretenses for the release of stored water in our reservoirs. That's a really big deal, and we've worked really hard on getting that. And it goes counter to the interim relief authority that the Water Resources Control Board has right now. So we're trying to, that's a big deal, believe it or not. SB 350, Water Rate Assistance Program, it's called LIRA. And it will not be advanced, and there's a lot of changes that need to be. It's a good thing, but we have to protect our districts from just exorbitant costs to try to cover that. AB 362 would establish tribal water uses as a beneficial use, and that's the first additional beneficial use that's been added to California water policy in a long time. I think it's a real good deal, and so I support that anyway. SB 394, it will increase fines for anybody stealing water from our agencies. And of course, you have to go through a legislative process to be able to increase the fines. And I think that's one that I think we'd all probably support. And then we met with our lobbyists down in Monterey and had real good discussions about future funding from the federal government. And my contention is that as the forestry fire suppression issue and its complexities is going to be probably a significant funding source that we might be able to tap into for the same exact issues that we have on our community forest. And that is the end of my report for tonight.
Yeah. I just had one thing.
Go ahead, please.
Yeah, we had quite a bit of conversation behind the scenes related to, I believe it's going to be called Prop 50, which is going to be on the ballot related to taking away the power of the gerrymandering, the independent commission. And so if that does in fact take place, we'll probably end up with our assembly person being our congressman, but it also is going to set a precedence for taking local control away from us related to how our voting precincts, our districts are set up. So there'll be a lot of, I'm already getting bombarded at home with mail on that. Huge amount of junk mail coming in about that. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens with that. But it's going to be very important, I think, for us, and it most likely will end up on the ballot.
Yeah, our relationships with our upstream legislators is critical And it does not matter who that representative is. That relationship for us is critical.
Until they go to jail.
Well, they may still have some power there too.
And I have proactively reached out to our lobbyists at Rojas Group to put that on their radar, and they're going to keep us updated as well.
Okay, thank you.
We just mentioned that something was discussed at REDEC, and I noticed the Time Standard had a feature article on that. The Transportation Department has pulled the funding on the offshore wind generation.
We can't hear you.
I'm sorry. The was discussed at REDEC at the board, and it's a feature article, and I think it's today's edition of Time Standard that the Department of Transportation has pulled the funding of the for the offshore wind project. And with the justification that the money would be better spent in development of ports and development of use of hydrocarbon resources. So that move is, I don't know how much of an effect it's going to have, because that's something in the future, but that port development was already underway. And the funding has been pulled.
And they're also talking about pulling the funding for the high-speed rail too. Federal government is.
Well, just
Yeah, just the federal, yeah. Our billions that are going into it are still going to be spent on it.
All right, shall we move on to staff reports? I'll start with finance and administration.
Even as much money as you lose in the horse business, you couldn't lose as much as the high-speed rail did.
Yeah.
All right, my turn.
Unfortunately, I worked in China for 25 years and I know what it looks like.
Not too much to add. We have some staffing changes. So we do have a new part-time office assistant starting on September 16th. One of our biggest projects we have going on right now, we are looking for a new accounting software, and we've narrowed it down to the last 3. We are thankful the city of Eureka is a user of one of our primary softwares that we're looking at, and they've invited us to come shadow them. So we'll be spending a day with them on Zoom, and then staff will be shadowing them for 1 to 2 days to view their utility billing and their AP processes to see if that fits in with what we plan on doing. Other than that, the audit is coming along well. The audit team will be here October 6th. So we got about 4 weeks to finish up our reconciliation, and we are right on track for that. So.
Thank you. Operations Department, Mr. Henry.
Nothing further to add at this time.
Thank you. Parks and Recreation, Director Messmer.
Nothing further to add, other than make sure you get your tickets for our BMX fundraiser.
General Manager, Mr. Gaspari.
Did want to talk about, so Humboldt Bay Municipal Water District, as I think most of you are aware, has an apparent leak on their main transmission line running parallel to Alliance. It's downstream of where we take our water off, so it's really not going to affect the district. It's definitely going to affect Arcata, Eureka, Humboldt Community Services District, Manila, Samoa, etc. Had a phone call earlier this week with all the munis, as well as Humboldt Bay, to talk about their schedule and how water is going to be transferred during the outage. So they are going to, haven't gotten an update today. So I assume that means they have not exposed the leak yet to figure out really what's going on. They hopefully will get to that, tomorrow. And then their plan is to shut it down sometime Friday and do the fix. So don't really know what the extent of the shutdown is. Again, it's not really going to affect us. We are likely going to be able to backfeed Arcata. HCSD is also backfeeding Arcata. And so,
You mean Arcata can't just use their tanks and,
no.
oh, that's right, they don't have it.
Yes, they don't have enough storage. As Director Orsini knows. So just wanted to update you on that. Also wanted to update you, our first Trails Day is not this upcoming Saturday, but the following Saturday on the 13th. So if you got a couple hours to spare to go out to the community forest and work on trails, you're more than welcome. That's it for me.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item is President's report. Part of what I want to report came from my time with REDEC. REDEC is now considering amending their committee structures so that alternates can serve on committees. And what I smell in the background is a desire to get me back on the loan committee, but we'll see what happens there. The other thing is that I have received just so far one, although people say, you know, don't hesitate to write a letter to the president of the board if you think that's going to be the way that you want to get your concerns expressed. And should a letter arrive, I will respond in writing, and I will see that the information gets directed to the appropriate place. And the appropriate place, of course, means to our general manager, and from there to the appropriate staff. As I think everybody's aware, we have a controversy over a fence in a dog park, and I've gotten actually two very well expressed and very well written letters on that, to which I've responded, and basically is saying, thank you for your concern and your input, and the matter is being discussed at both at committee level as a staff level. And I anticipate that it's going to be open for more discussion, and we'll see what happens anyhow. I expect to have another one coming. I've been told it's been written, and that has to do with the restroom closure in Hiller Park at the times when the park is most heavily used by people, and there's some unhappiness that, and we'll see what happens on it. But words to the effect of, and exactly where are the kids going to go when they're there playing on Saturday and Sunday and there's no restroom available? The answer to that is that's an issue to be directed to our staff who are responsible for that. And no, it's not the people who are working at the waste treatment plant. They are not part of the Parks and Rec staff. And so anyhow, my whole point there is that I'm more than willing to act as a point of reception to maintain a relationship with people in the community and try to do my very best to direct any input to the place that it rightfully belongs. And hopefully I do the job well. And that's my report. And with that, what else do we have remaining on our agenda?
Board member comments and also
Board
item requests.
Board member comments, agenda item requests.
Bye, Leslie.
Thank you, Leslie.
I'd like to report on annual conference, CSDA annual conference. in the, what I did there. So, our opening keynote speaker was, Joe Theismann, an amazing speaker. I've met a lot of people that have been fairly famous and had a lot of accolades that they could bring about themselves or that people have said about him. He's probably one of the most down to earth, self-deprecating men I've ever met in my whole life. That played professional football, an amazing statistician. The man's mind. You can tell he didn't get dinged up very much in the head playing football because he's just sharp as a tack. Very, 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 very open to talking to people, and it was just great to meet somebody of his caliber that's so open to talking to other people. Some of the breakout sessions I went to, and I think Scott can attest to this because we both wanted to go to this one, and that's innovating wildfire prevention strategies, funding, and tools for special districts. It was very specific to one fire. It wasn't very helpful to me at all as far as things that I could bring back to the district.
It was very specific to San Luis Obispo.
Yeah, to San Luis Obispo County. And really the synopsis for it really, they didn't follow the synopsis whatsoever. I was kind of bummed out about that. I left about an hour into it. Then I went to the Navigating the AI Tide Legal and Ethical Implications for Special Districts. That was an excellent one. It brought up the issues with efficacy and ethical considerations. It also talked about the protection of proprietary information and how careful you have to be that when you start using AI, depending on the platform you use, you could be basically all your proprietary information could be out in the ether sphere to have access for other people. I think it's one of the most important things I got out of it. And then I also did navigating cybersecurity and IT strategies for special districts leaders. That was another great one. I got a lot out of that. I think that a lot of the things that I picked up in that, I'll be able to pick. I'll be able to participate when we participate in the ad hoc committee. That kind of gave me a foot in the door on what's going to be expected or what's going to be part of that cybersecurity deal that we're going to do. Also went to the latest CalPERS developments and what you need to know. That was another good one related to what's going on with CalPERS right now. I think CalPERS is doing really good. Because the stock market's been doing so well, we'll probably see our unfunded liability will probably be going down, and it's very helpful. They're not getting as much pressure on divestation as we're hearing around here from one of our local cities, which will go unnamed. But there's not that much pressure for them being divesting. They did have pressure on that before, and their board kind of put their foot down related to them not participating in those sort of things. They have a requirement to do the best they can for the people that are invested in the system. So that was pretty good. And that was the gist of the major breakout sessions that I went to. Did a lot of networking and talked to a lot of people from a lot of different districts. We also had a finance corporation, a CSDA Finance Corporation meeting, and Oppenheimer, of course, participates in those because they're one of the underwriters that Finance Corporation uses. And we did discuss our potential for going after some certificates of participation at the beginning of next year. So we did get talked about. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Craig. Any other announcements or reports, and do we have any requests for future agenda items?
So I just pitch in on Greg's thing. Director Couch and I went to the LAFCO meeting,
Mhm.
which was a good meeting. And I sat in on several of those same meetings that Greg, I stood in the back of the room. And quite exceptional. And just want to add that Oppenheimer made the best fish sandwich I've ever had. It was out of salmon. Yum.
And that taco truck was amazing, wasn't it?
See.
Yeah, I too went to several of the meetings concurrently with the other four directors. The cybersecurity one, I was a little disappointed in, but I also understand that it was given by a man who wasn't prepared to do it. The main presenter was not able to attend, but I was able to talk to some vendors and specifically on the encryption of SCADA telegraphy. And that was very, very interesting for me, the packet switching network encryption. So that was cool.
Cool.
Oh, and also the segment on managing public perception of the 218 process. That was also a real good breakout session.
Nice. Anything else? Any requests for future agenda items?
I'll move to adjourn.
It does not require a second. Meeting adjourned. Thank you, Greg.